Hi, in this video, we're going over 14 tips on choosing a reputable tax preparer for your small business. Stay tuned. So here we are in the middle of tax season for 2024, but we're filing for business activity that occurred in 2023. Now, you might be a new small business owner that started in 2023, or you might be a business owner already, but had bad experience with tax preparers in the past. So don't worry, I'm here to help you pick the right person. Tip number one, you want to make sure that the tax preparer has an active and valid PTIN number, also known as a preparer tax identification number. It kind of serves like a social security number with the IRS. However, it's a different type of number used specifically for filing taxes on the behalf of someone. Now, that number expires every year on the 31st, so they have to have an active and valid PTIN number. And just to note, all enrolled in agents, attorneys, and certified public accountants must have a PTIN number if they are paid to prepare or aid in preparing all or most of a federal tax return or claim for a refund. Now, one of the things you can do to confirm that that person has an active and valid PTIN number is you can go to the IRS website and you want to go to the section for the Directory of Federal Tax Preparers. And you can go on there and put in that person's name and or PTIN number if you have it, and pull up a record to verify that their number is active. As an alternative, if you've looked up that person in the directory and they do not show up, that does not mean that their PTIN is inactive or invalid. You can also directly email the IRS at epp@irs.gov. Just remember to include the person's first name, last name, complete address, and the enrolled agent number or PTIN if you have it available. And the IRS will respond to you within 24 hours. Tip number two, make sure your tax preparer has an established business with a physical address and not a P.O. box address. Now, that's a little tricky because some actual CPA firms might use a P.O. box address, but just make sure and verify that they do have a physical address in existence. Now, for small business owners, generally, it's recommended that you go with an established CPA firm unless you find a trusted, experienced, and retired tax preparer who only works during tax season. And there are many of those as well. But again, you just want to make sure that they have an active and valid PTIN number. In addition, you should also see if they have a legitimate website or if they're listed on the Better Business Bureau or have Google reviews. Are they on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, if they have any kind of social media presence as well? That way you can go to their page or go to their website and learn more about the services they offer. You might find some customer reviews as well to help you determine if that is the type of tax preparer you would like to go with. Now, tip number four, you want to look up their certification or their license for proof of active credentials. Now, a PTIN does not mean that a person has the credentials to prepare taxes. That just means they have the ability to file taxes with the IRS on behalf of someone else. Credentials would stand for like CPA, a licensed attorney, so on and so forth. Now, for a CPA or a certified public accountant, you can go to www.cpaverify.org, which is provided by NASBA, or the National Association of State Boards Accountancy, and verify if that person has an active certificate or active license as a CPA to prepare taxes. For a licensed tax attorney, you can go to americabar.org, provided by ABA or the American Bar Association, to look up that person's information and verify that they have an active license as an attorney or a tax attorney before selecting them to prepare your taxes. Tip number five, you want to ask if the tax preparer provides engagement letters to all of their clients. And this is very common in the tax accounting world. It's a letter that sets clear expectations between the client and the tax professional. It outlines the scope of services provided, deadlines, fees, and etc. Tip number 6, you want to ask about the fees they charge up front. Generally, tax preparers will charge flat fees. You want to avoid taxpayers who base their fees on a percentage of your refund, which is really not a good thing. Also, don't give them any documents, including like your EIN number or your social security number, until you have made a final decision to hire them. Do not give them any information just so they can provide you with a quote on how much they will charge you, because that's not an acceptable practice or a common practice in the tax field. Tip number 7, and you want to be very cautious, professional taxpayers will not ask to be paid in cash only. They just don't. Professional ones do not. Cash only payments are very suspicious and they are very unprofessional. Payments for services should be tracked with a paper trail and or electronic receipt. So you want to make sure that you have something in hand showing proof of payment and services provided in case down the line there might be an audit. Tip number 8, you want to confirm that the tax preparer will sign your return with their name and PTIN number. Remember that PTIN number. The IRS requires all tax preparers to sign tax returns they prepare for compensation. They should never ever mark the return as self-prepared. And again, what's the point? Because you're paying them as a professional to prepare your taxes. Your name should not be listed as self-prepared. That just defeats the purpose. Tip number 9, they should never promise any type of large tax refunds. It's impossible to guarantee a refund without reviewing your financial situation or your financial records. Tax returns with fraudulent deductions will lead to serious consequences such as hefty penalties and so on and so forth. So you want to be very cautious of these promised large refunds, because it's really not common practice to do that. And tip number 10, confirm that you'll receive a completed copy of your tax return prior to filing with the IRS. You, the taxpayer, are 100% fully responsible for the accuracy of your tax return. Inquire about any tax credits or deductions you don't fully understand. So this is a great way to make sure there are no fraudulent claims of any source or of any sorts on your tax return. You must review it, and then once you feel comfortable, you can give the tax preparer the go-ahead to file. So just make sure up front or early on that you guys have that understanding prior to hiring that tax preparer. Tip number 11, ask if they have the ability to e-file tax returns on your behalf. Now, this should be an automatic given, but it doesn't hurt to just verify. Tax preparers are required to e-file when filing more than 10 tax returns within a calendar year. Make sure you obtain a copy of the e-filing confirmation as well. So again, you want to see, we'll go back, you want to verify that your tax return was prepared correctly, that you understand everything on there. And then once it's filed, make sure you have a confirmation of the e-filing on record as well. Now, tip number 12. Now, I've seen where this has happened to some people, but you got to be careful. A tax preparer is not reputable if they want you to deposit your refund, your tax refund, into their bank account. Legitimate tax preparers will never ask you to have your tax refund deposited into their bank account or into a third party bank account. It should go into your account and your account only. Tip number 13, a professional tax preparer will never ask you to sign a blank tax form. Never do that. By signing a blank tax form in advance before they even reviewed your financial records, you are giving them the freedom to potentially file a fraudulent tax return, claim bogus refunds, and or steal your identity. So be very careful. And finally, tip number 14, make sure they are available to file your tax return timely. Great tax preparers have a list of regular clients. This is their busiest season, which makes it hard to take on extra work. So confirm their ability to prepare your tax return on time. Now, side note, if you suspect that someone is using your business name and or EIN number to file fraudulent tax returns or W-2 forms, you can submit what's called a Form 14039-B to the IRS immediately. This form is generally for businesses, trusts, estates, and tax-exempt organizations when reporting this fraudulent act. If you suspect that someone has used your personal name and or social security number to file fraudulent tax returns, then you can submit Form 14039 to the IRS to file a complaint. If any misconduct by a tax preparer has been done, you can submit Form 14157 and 14157-A as well. All right, I hope these tips have helped you. Thanks for watching. Please remember to like, comment, share, and also subscribe, and I'll be back with another video. And one last thing, if you are forming or have formed a corporation, whether it's a C or an S corporation, and you need help meeting the state requirements for having your articles of incorporation, your corporate bylaws, your shareholders agreement, your dissolution, your resolutions, and so on and so forth, I have what's called a corporate formation starter kit available to you. You can go to my website at platinumblackservices.com or check below in the description box for more information. There is a discount you can use. Start now is the discount code, and you'll receive $20 off.